Hello, this is Michael Rubin, and we've been talking about the chromatic harmonica, and I'm real excited to get to this lesson because it's so cool. Uh, this is a B flat diatonic, just because it's what I just picked up. I'm sure some of you know how to do the tongue blocking technique where you make an octave. So remember, we'll talk about the theory in the second lesson. So if you don't know what an octave is or why it's called an octave, check out the next lesson and we'll explain it. But in any case, what I'm doing is I'm putting my tongue on some holes on the harmonica to block the sound of them, and then I'm opening up both sides of my mouth to get, don't touch your face, to get uh, two notes to play, the one on the left and the one on the right. But the special thing about an octave is that both notes are the same. It's just one is low and one is high. So for example, if you're on a C diatonic and you play one blow, that's the note C. And if you play four blow, that's also the note C. And so what happens is you get a shimmering sound. So octaves have that shimmering sound. Well, it's possible to get an octave on a chromatic. Remember, we're talking about chromatic blues. But that's not what I'm talking about today. That's going to come. We are going to talk about octaves. But what I want to instead talk about is the concept of playing two notes at once by placing your tongue on the harmonica and playing around it. Anytime you play two notes at once, that's called a double stop. So if I were to play one blow and two blow by opening my mouth wide enough for a two-hole range, that's a double stop. But you can also do double stops by placing your tongue on the harmonica and playing the surrounding notes. So an octave is a double stop. It's just a special kind of double stop. It's kind of a subset of the larger double stop umbrella. So remember we said that when you're playing in the key of D, third position on a chromatic, you can play any blow note and any draw note as long as you don't push in the button. Well, this means you can play any combination of notes. So I could play one blow, two blow, or I could play 1, 2, 3 blow, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blow, really as big as your mouth can get. When you play three or more notes at once, that's called a chord, C-H-O-R-D. So I just played a lot of chords there, and every note that I played was a white note on the keyboard, and therefore it all sounds good in blues in the key of D. But now we're going to start placing our tongue on the harmonica and playing two notes that surround it. Now, the shape I'm going to use is I'm going to have a four-hole range, two-hole block. So for example, I may play one blow and four blow and block two and three blow. Now that happens to be an octave. But these are not all going to be an octave. If I play one draw and four draw, that's not an octave. But it can sound really cool. So this is really the beginning of understanding the Little Walter method of playing blues chromatic. If you haven't checked out Little Walter yet, get on the stick. Most people agree he is the leading blues harmonica player ever, and he certainly is, in my opinion, the most influential blues harmonica player ever. So when Little Walter played chromatic, you know, before he did that, there were recordings of people playing what they called blues on the chromatic. Bands like the Harmonicats, Johnny Pulio's Harmonica Gang, Bora Minovich's Harmonica Rascals. If you look at all their records, pretty much on every record there is a song. Bora's Blues, Johnny's Blues, Harmonicat's blues, right? And if you were to analyze what's going on in those songs, they're using the chords that bands play when they play blues. They're using the scales that bands play when they play blues. But something about it doesn't seem authentic. To me, I suggest that chords and scales, that's not all there is for making blues blues. Timing matters, volume matters, phrasing matters, but most importantly, feeling matters. There's a certain level of feeling, a certain style of feeling that really makes blues blues and makes the Harmonicats blues not so real blues. And this is my own opinion, and you can take me to court if you want to. So in my opinion, the first person to record authentic blues on the Chromatic is Little Walter. And if anybody can show me an earlier recording that they think does the trick, believe me, I want to hear it. So, that said, Little Walter sometimes played single notes on the Chromatic. And he sometimes played double stops that were adjacent to one another. So for example, he might play 6-draw and 7-draw. Right? But one of the main things that makes Little Walter's chromatic playing so special is that he would play these double stops that had a 4-hole range, 2-hole block. I am guessing this is because many of the octaves that can be achieved on the diatonic, not all, but many of the octaves use this range. So for example, every one of those octaves was a 4-hole range, 2-hole block. So my guess is Walter's mouth was used to that shape because he was such a great diatonic player, and he just applied that shape to the Chromatic, and lo and behold, some beautiful music came out. So what I'm going to do is go to YouTube and pull up a backing track for blues in the key of D, and I'm going to focus on these 4-hole range, 2-hole block double stops and listen to what happens. First, let me turn this music up. All right, here we go. Now I'll sprinkle some single notes in there. And I might have accidentally, I heard it a couple of times, thrown in some octaves just because I'm so used to that shape that sometimes my muscle memory pops into that. But most of what I did there was that 4-hole range, 2-hole block sound. And it's a really cool sound. And in the next video, I'm going to explain my opinion of why that sound is so cool. All right. Thanks very much. Remember, I give Skype lessons, and I have a book for sale. And I don't just teach chromatic, I teach all the instruments: bass, diatonic, chord, harmonica. So Go to michaelrubinharmonica.com and check me out. Thanks very much.